Chef Buck here, and today we're going to cook up some shrimp and fennel. Doesn't that sound fancy? Shrimp, fennel. It's like the dynamic duo of potential fancy. But this isn't fancy. We're just going to use some rinky-dink shrimp. I got some $6 a pound peeled and deveined shrimp, just medium size. You don't want to use any super impressive gargantuan Arnold Schwarzenegger looking shrimp. Just use kind of plain Jane looking shrimp because the flavors in this dish are really going to overpower the shrimp. So the main benefit of the shrimp is that it's fancy and it cooks fast. So if you're trying to impress somebody for dinner, this is a good dish to do it with, especially if you buy shrimp on sale. Now we got some fennel. That sounds fancy, right? In fact, one of the first videos I put up about 10 years ago was a fennel dish. And it had smoked salmon in it. I'll put a link down below. I think I called it How Rich People Eat Eggs, because it had fennel in it. People think of fennel as having an overpowering licorice flavor. And that sort of turns some people off. And it does have a licorice type flavor, but it's not like eating a Twizzler or something. So give fennel a try. Now this is sort of an intimidating looking vegetable, but we're going to cut this down to size, pretty lickety split, because the only thing we're really interested in is the bulb. This feels vaguely inappropriate, but I can't stop doing it. So it must be inappropriate. So we're going to take our bulb and we're just going to whack off the stalks. Again, sort of sounds inappropriate. We're going to cut off our stalks. All we want is the bulb right here. On the bottom we got kind of a little knobby end. We're going to slice that off thinly. Boom, boom, boom. And this is a good sized bulb, but it's a beautiful bulb. When you buy a fennel bulb or a stalk of fennel like this here, I mean, if you get it with this here, that's good. Sometimes you'll see it in the store and it'll just be the bulb, or it'll have most of this cut off, and that's okay, because this is mainly what you want to use. Although you can use the little fronds, you can use that as a garnish, and it has very much the consistency of dill, but it's got a lot of a mild licoricey smell, but not the kind of licorice that's going to make you go, you know, I don't want my dinner to taste like licorice. I actually use fennel a lot, but I use fennel seeds. You know, cooking with seeds is just such a great idea. You know, it imparts so much flavor and it's so easy. And you can keep seeds for a while. So it's a great flavor to have around. I'm sure I got some here. But these are fennel seeds. We're in an Airbnb. We're traveling with fennel seeds. That's how much we like fennel seeds.
Fancy pants.
That's right. I only have like 3 pair of underwear and fennel seeds.
Classic.
That's right. I got my priorities just right. It's got a little bit of a core right here we want to cut out. So what we're going to do firstly is we're going to slice it in half. And we're just going to do a little divot here and get this core out of here because we don't need that. Boom, boom, boom. And the larger your fennel is, the bigger the core is. So if you're using it for a raw preparation, you want to get a smaller piece of fennel, so you don't have such a big core in there. It doesn't really matter for this since we're going to be cooking it. But I'm going to go ahead and slice it thinly into some nice big pieces. And I'm going to use the whole bulb, which seems like a lot, but like I said, we're going to saute and cook it down. And there's quite a little bit of water in here, so it'll cook out. So we got a bunch of nice slices of fennel here. And we're going to use all of this. And we are going to use a little bit of the headdress here for a garnish. But mainly this is what we're interested in right here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my skillet on medium-high heat. Put me a little bit of oil in there. And this dish cooks up pretty fast. Once I got my oil heated up in my skillet, I'm going to throw my onion in here. I got 1 whole onion cut up into slices. And I'm using a whole onion, but it's a very small onion. And after a minute, boom, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my fennel and saute this up, cook it down just a little bit. Now fennel you can eat raw. You know, like I said, you can use it in salads, you can just slice it and use it as it is. Stir this around for about a minute with the onions. Then I'm going to throw in my seasoning. Salt and pepper to taste, and then just a crazy amount of smoked paprika. Just a crazy amount. Just like a tablespoon. Smoked paprika has a very strong flavor.
And it's not the same as regular paprika.
No, no, no. Smoked paprika is smoked paprika. And I'm going to throw in about a tablespoon of tomato paste. Get this stirred in. We're continuing just to cook it away. We've had it going for about 3 minutes altogether with the cooking time here, because this dish cooks up super fast. Now I got a little bottle of wine. So I'm going to use some Sauvignon Blanc. You can use some Chardonnay. Camera Girl likes anything in a box. But you can use the tiny bottle, or you can use a big bottle. But we don't need a whole lot. In fact, I'm just going to put about half of this bottle in here. Or maybe a little bit more. But you don't want to use the whole bottle. Because if you use the whole bottle, it means you have a drinking problem. That's a great flavor in this dish. I might have a drinking problem. But add as much wine as you care to. You know, and if you don't want to use wine or you don't have wine, just use some water. Now I got a little bit of tomato here. These are just cherry tomatoes I've sliced in half. And that's going to release a lot of moisture into this dish too. And now we're going to add in our shrimp. Just a little bit over a pound of peeled and deveined shrimp. So now all we want to do is stir this for about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, just until your shrimp are cooked through, just until they turn opaque and are done, and that's all there is to this dish. It's literally just going to take a couple of minutes, just as long as it takes for your shrimp to cook. You know, once the shrimp are finished cooking, just go ahead and get it off the heat. Boom, boom, boom. And that's it. Now you can serve this any way you like. Boom. So we got a little bit of rice and spinach just to make it a complete meal. Alrighty, so all we're going to do is take our shrimp, our fennel, just top our dish with it. And you can serve this shrimp and fennel over anything you like. But you know, rice is always a good combination with shrimp. So we actually made quite a bit of this for just a little bit more than a pound of shrimp. So we're going to have almost as much left over after making these portions. Put a little more of the sauce on there. And you know, the more tomatoes you add, the more wine you add, the more sauce you'll have. Now we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of a garnish. This is just some of the top of the fennel. And it's not overly strong flavor. You know, it's kind of like just dill in consistency. Adds a nice little garnish, you know, especially if you're not serving it over spinach. That nice little bit of green adds a nice contrast. So there you have it. A little shrimp and fennel.
Or a lot of shrimp and
A
fennel.
lot of shrimp and fennel. You know, you should have a lot of shrimp if you're going to have a shrimp dish.
With just those two flavors, are you happy? Because you're usually Mr. Spice Master.
This is plenty of flavor. You know, and that fennel isn't overpowering, even though we used an entire bowl and we garnished it with a little bit of the fennel top. But don't be scared of the fennel. You know, give it a try. It's a fancy pants ingredient, or at least it creates that illusion. Team up your fennel with some average shrimp, then you'll have a super duper dish. And you won't even have to hardly try to do it. You know, you want to impress a first date or your landlord. You know, you're a little bit behind on your rent. Invite your landlord over for some shrimp and fennel. You know? Then he'll probably jack up your rate, I guess, maybe.
They might say, why'd you spend money on that instead of paying me?
That might not work.
Yeah.
Okay, invite your landlord over and just feed him a peanut butter sandwich. Tell him you can't afford the jelly. I know you never ever met a shrimp you didn't like.
I thought I would miss the garlic.
Yeah, this is one of those rare dishes where I didn't overload it with garlic. But I put some wine in there. So I know that makes you happy, camera girl.
Aww.
Now I know you just wish you had a bottle of wine to go with it. If you want to check this recipe out, I have it written down below. You can go take a peek at it. Head over to myfoodchannel.com to print it out. I got a link down there. Thanks for watching and subscribing, checking out all our videos, thumbs it up, commenting. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.